What up, IDS Mob? It's your boy HarryWilmington here. And today we're going to be answering a question from a guy that left a comment on a video I made called "My Ex Had Sex During Our Break." And this is a guy that wants to know, there's a situation going on with this girl whereby basically he hooked up with somebody else while he was talking to this girl. And now fast forward 11 months later, he's feeling as though she's been lying to him about stuff. And meanwhile, he broke it off and has connected with another woman, but he's also still hooking up with his now ex, and he wants to know if he's right to be able to hook up with the new girl and the previous ex and all that stuff. So I've been getting a lot of questions lately, and I've been doing a lot of videos on this topic about when is it considered cheating, and is it okay to be hooking up with other people if you're not completely committed to somebody yet, meaning there's no titles, there's no boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And so I've given my general thoughts on that. I'm going to go over some of them again here. But my general belief and feeling is that if you are dating a woman and you're just dating and there are no titles, either of you are totally fine to do whatever you want with other people. If the other person asks you about if you're hooking up with other people, you can decide whether or not you want to divulge that information. But the point is this, is that you as a guy should not feel guilty or feel like you have to confess to another girl that you're seeing that you've hooked up with another woman in the process of you dating. The dating process is designed to help you figure out who you want to be with. So if you're talking to one woman seriously and you're talking to another woman and you hook up with her and you realize you don't want to be with this other woman, fine. You don't have to now go to this first woman and say, hey, just so you know, I hooked up with somebody, and then feel as though you're cheating on them, because that is not actually what's going on. All right? There's no titles. There's nothing that said you two are going to be together long term yet. And so therefore, at least in my opinion, you and her can do whatever the heck you want with other people until you guys make the commitment. At that point, now it's cheating if it hasn't been talked about in terms of being an open relationship, all right? But let's go ahead and go through this guy's rambling comment. Because I had to put it to the side and like put out the periods, and so because it was just a long run-on sentence for a minute there, okay? So please, if you're leaving comments that you want me to answer, use punctuation. It makes it easier for me to go through it and answer your question. Anyway, let's go with this guy's question. So he says, let's say you cheated on your girl when you were getting serious. You told her the next day because you felt guilty and you knew that's the girl you want to be with. Stop, pause. Like I said, you were getting to know her, but you were not at the point where you guys were in an actual relationship. So if you hooked up with somebody else, there's no reason for you to feel guilty about that, all right? Furthermore, I'm going to assume this happened like maybe month 1 or month 2 into you getting to know her. On average, it takes a woman 3 months to solidify her feelings for you, because also during that time, she's doing her due diligence, which means during the first 3 months of dating, you should not be trying to give her any kind of title, nor should you be assuming, I want to be with her definitively. You might have an idea or an inkling that you want to be with her, but that does not actually mean that you've done all the research you need to make a definitive decision. And guys are guilty of this. Guys are very much guilty of, you go on a couple of good dates and you assume, yep, that's it. That's the one. I'm going to lock her down. Well, you're not at that stage yet. So what that means is that if you do hook up with somebody else, you shouldn't feel bad, because even if you feel as though this could be the girl for you, you don't realistically know if she's there yet. And until she gets there, then it's just you two dating. So you could have felt like, oh my God, she should have been mine, and I'm already feeling this thing, but now I did this other thing with this other girl, I feel so bad. You can feel that all you want to, but it is not a thing you should feel bad about, okay? But let's continue on with this message. He says, skip ahead, then you find out she was also hooking up with someone else, only twice, allegedly, when we weren't together before you even cheated, but we didn't talk during this time. It was kind of a talking stage, and the man cut it off and reached out a month or 2 later. Okay, so what is he saying? He's saying he confessed to her, oh my God, I cheated on you. And then he finds out later on, hey, she was also hooking up with another guy during this time. Why do you think that is? Could it possibly be because she figured that during that time, you guys were just talking and that you weren't committed to each other yet? So until that happened, you could both do whatever you want. So this is what I'm talking about. Guys have been made to believe all these things and feel guilty about things that they have nothing to feel guilty about. Meanwhile, women are dating exactly the way that I'm telling you guys. She's enjoying your company. She hasn't made a definitive decision yet. So while she's connecting with you, she may also be connecting physically with other people. Is that the most ideal situation or scenario? No, but a lot of that has to do with our ego. We don't want to believe that the woman that we're dating could be hooking up with other people because we're so great. But the reality is, guy, until she has solidified her feelings by going out with you for a few months, everything is able to happen on the table. You can hook up with other women, she can hook up with other guys, and neither of you need to be made to feel guilty. So she didn't feel bad, but you feel bad. And I'm telling you again, you did not need to feel bad. You did not need to go to her to confess anything because you weren't cheating on her. You were talking to her just like you were talking to other women, which is totally fine, okay? Get into the belief that it's okay to date multiple women at a time as you're trying to whittle down the one you want to get with, and that sometimes may include hooking up with more than one woman. Wear protection, be safe. I'm at 40 at this point. I recognize that there are like germs and things out there and STDs and stuff like that. So I'm not saying it's the most ideal thing for you to be hooking up with multiple women or for her to be hooking up with multiple guys, but just know that that is a realistic thing that could be happening and that neither of you need to feel guilty for that. Anyway, continuing, he says, then from the point of cheating, which again, you weren't cheating, guy, because you weren't together like that, you swore you would tell her the truth and gave all your passwords so that if she felt some way, she can check for herself. Dude, you don't need to do that. Honestly, really, until you guys are in a committed relationship in terms of like marriage and stuff like that, you don't have to give her all your passwords to look through all your stuff. And then even when you get married, I honestly believe that both parties have a right to still have some privacy to themselves. So for me, it seems as though when couples start giving out passwords to each other, it's because one person doesn't trust the other one and they want to have a reason to check up on the other one, all right? So you're preemptively trying to give her some kind of feeling of like, you can totally trust me because I'm going to give you all the passwords to my stuff. But that really shows an insecurity on your part because in a way, it's almost like you're feeling so guilty about it that you want her to have, no kind of doubt whatsoever, but she can still have doubt. Like, you can give her all the passwords in the world, and she can still think that you're behind her back going out someplace and doing things that you shouldn't be doing, okay? And I know that you feel some kind of way about that because you feel as though you've already done that. And I'm telling you again, you didn't. You were talking to a girl, and you were hooking up with another girl, and that's totally fine when there's no titles involved, all right? Continuing, he says, stay with me now. So 11 months after cheating, which again, you didn't cheat, you're still together, and she kept saying more lies in general about things she could have easily told me, like hanging out with a guy at the gym, not once but twice, and she deleted old messages so I wouldn't see. So I don't know where this is happening in terms of like, after you guys became an official couple, was she then talking to guys at the gym? After you became an official couple, was she then talking to guys on like dating apps or through text and then deleting the messages when you found them? Or was it a thing where like before you guys became an official couple, she had talked to another guy at a gym and she had received messages, and at the point that you guys became a couple, she then decided to delete all those messages because realistically, if she's going to be with you, there's no need to talk to those guys anymore or keep them in her timeline. I don't know which one of these it is based on your message. So I'm going to say if she was talking to guys beforehand and then afterwards she wanted to delete all that stuff, but she didn't tell you about it till later. Like say she talked to another guy at a gym and then you guys got together and then she says, oh, before we got together, I talked to this guy at a gym. Or you find out about it, no harm, no foul. It was before you guys got together as an official couple, no big deal. But if it's after the fact, then that's something I would be concerned about. Continuing, he says, mind you, you've been doing everything right after you cheated, which again, you didn't cheat because you weren't together like that with titles, and we're completely honest, and now she is the dishonest one. And again, is she dishonest about things that she was doing before you guys got together or after? If it's after, there's definitely a problem. There's some red flags here. If it's before, dude, the reality is most women aren't going to want to tell you about other dudes they were talking to or hooking up with before they considered you as the official boyfriend, okay? Let that stuff go. You don't need to know every single detail about who she was talking to and what she was doing before you guys got together, because during the talking phase, it is whatever it is, all right? After after the point where you guys got into a relationship, that's when you can start to ask those questions. Hey, so were you talking to Bob last night, or what was going on when I wasn't around at this time, or this, whatever, But like beforehand, like let that stuff go, all right? Anyway, he says, and you break up with her now because of all the lies that you just can't trust her, but yet still want to hook up with her. So I'm not necessarily against exes hooking up with each other. Frankly, it can be fantastic. But recognize that there is some wisdom in, if you're going to let a person completely go, to just let them go. Because what we're doing now is basically saying, I don't want you anymore, but your body's still fine, so come over to her. And over time, she's probably going to resent you for that, and that's not fair to her. Because she might be in this thinking, if I hook up with him enough times, eventually he's going to see the error of his ways, and he's going to want to get back with me. And that's a conversation you need to have about, hey, so we're just hooking up, right? Like do you still have any residual feelings for me? Are you seeing us trying to get together possibly? Because I know I don't want that, but if this hookup's good, are you trying to get back together? Because if that's in her head, then for the betterment of her, you need to let that hookup go. Because there's going to be other women out there that you can hook up with that are going to be completely fine and that you're going to want to actually get with. But if you're just doing the hookup just to do it, again, maybe it's just as I'm at 40, I'm at that point in my life where I'm like, I don't want to be hooking up with women just to be hooking up. Like, oh, the opportunity's there, but like, is that going to be a long-term good decision? And if you're realistically saying that you don't trust this girl, you don't like her anymore, and you don't want to be with her, but you're still wanting to hook up with her, then that's something to examine with her to see where she's at. Because if she's still thinking it's going to allow her to get back with you, then that's not fair to her. Again, she's a grown woman. She make whatever choices she wants to. I'm just saying the long-term prospects of this or that, you need to look out for what's going on with her and her, mental state in terms of this hookups thing going on, and see if that's what she's actually getting into. If not, then you need to let it go. Continuing, he says, there's also a new girl that just came into your life that you haven't even kissed, but you like her for her, but yet you're having physical relations with your ex. Is it even okay if the man hooks up with the new girl too, or does he have to pick? So again, this is one of those things where it's at your discretion, and if you're hooking up with the ex and trying to get with the new girl too, technically, if there's no titles, you can continue to hook up with your ex and still get to know this new girl, okay? You could be hooking up hypothetically with both women. It really depends on how you feel about that. If you feel like you're gonna feel guilty about doing that, then don't do it. If you're able to realistically say, hey, until we have titles, I'm hooking up with my ex, I haven't kissed this other girl yet, so I wanna still get to know this girl, but while I'm waiting to get physical with her, I wanna continue a physical relationship with my ex, and then at the point that me and this other girl start hooking up, then I gotta let go of my ex, that's also fine, okay? All I'm saying is this, is that regardless of what you do, if you don't have titles with any of these women, you don't need to feel guilty about hooking up with both of them. You don't need to confess to one. You don't need to go to your ex and say, hey, just so you know, I met this new girl and I'm hooking up with her. And then go to the new girl, hey, just so you know, I feel so guilty because I'm hooking up with my ex. Like, in my opinion, you don't need to feel any kind of way about that, because until either of them have asked for exclusivity and you've said yes, then it's just you trying to figure out who's going to be the best option for you. Now, again, with all the stuff that's out there today with various germs, STDs, yada, 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 it's not the best thing to do. But I'm again saying, if you decide to make that choice, you shouldn't feel guilty about it. So hopefully, Guy, this helps you out. And for the rest of you, if you have a question you'd like me to answer on one of these shows, leave a comment down below. Please, please, please punctuate. I don't like having to edit long-form sentences, but leave your comment down below, and I'll be happy to answer on one of these shows. If you want to have a personal one-on-one phone consultation to help you get your life on track with this dating thing, to help change your mindset, and to help you land the women of your dreams, go to introvertdatingsuccess.com, click on the coaching tab, and schedule a one-on-one phone consultation. All right? Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the podcast on Apple and Spotify whenever podcasts are found. All right? Thanks for watching. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Introvert Dating Success Podcast. Visit us at introvertdatingsuccess.com for more great tips on attracting women using your natural introvert charm. Oh, yeah.